lurking in the dark woods and watching you. And all things unexplained. Here are the stories from outside our realm. With your host, Bill Rigby.
Hey everybody, I'm glad you are here tonight. I got a special guest tonight from Cincinnati, Ohio, Lilly. He's had his encounter. He's written books about it and wrote different Bigfoot books for adults and children. Here, let me get him in here so he can tell more about himself. Hey, Jeff.
How you doing, Bill?
Pretty good, buddy.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey, turn your radio down.
Turn it down, babe. Turn it down.
We're getting
I got
feedback.
fans. Yeah, because I got fans in house.
Yeah, I know. I know how that is. Now, my question is, how many years you been at this?
Off and on, shit. I'd say give or take probably 18 to 20 years
Okay.
with everything that's happened in my life. My encounters, I've had several.
All right. The thing is, tell us about it.
Well, it all started when we were children. I used to take my little sister to school every day. And we usually took the lower roads of our town where we lived, Norwood, Ohio. We lived on the north side of town. And up above us was a place that was named Indian Mound. And there was a huge set of woods up there. So one day I decided to go up that way and take her to school. Well, on the way home, we were about a half a block from the house to make our turn to go downhill to get to the apartment. And all of a sudden, I hear a loud whooping sound. And right as I hear that whoop, a rock crashes right at my feet. So I stop. I'm kind of shocked. I look behind me. I'm thinking it's neighborhood bullies or something, because we had a lot of kids. Everybody messed with each other like that in our town. All the kids did. So I stopped, but nobody was behind me. So I'm looking, I'm scanning, I don't see anything. So we continue to walk, and I put her to the inside of me this time because the rock's been thrown. Well, we get about 5-6 steps further and another whoop comes and another rock crashes even closer. But this time it breaks apart and shatters and kind of splinters off and hits me in the legs. I'm glad I tucked her to the inside. Well, this time I glanced off and started to scan the woods. And sure enough, up about 100 foot up an incline into the pocket of woods there was something had a hold of 2 trees, shaking them and bobbing and weaving its head from left to right. This thing was huge. This one was. It was a beautiful sheen black with gray or white mixed in with it. The hair was,
Okay.
the fur was about 2.5, 3 inches off of its arms and legs. I didn't get a really good look at the face because it was like it was just trying to constantly stay moving to keep from being detected, exactly where it was at. Or it could have been doing that just to try to intimidate us. But I mean, it intimidated the crap out of me. So we took off running. And I get home and I tell my mom, and my mom instantly says, "You kids are full of crap. Go back to your room, do your homework." That was the first thing that ever come across my path,
Right.
But that's stuck with me for many years. For the first couple weeks after that happened, we stayed. Our bedroom was together in the back of the apartment, and there was woods back there as well. And I always remember, for like a month, 2 months after that, just being scared to death, thinking that thing was going to come to our window, as children, and having that happen to you. And it's not supposed to exist.
It's frightful. It's definitely frightful.
You know,
How old
yes.
were you then?
I was probably 8.
Yeah.
8 years old. And it stuck with me for years, but then slowly as you grow into a teenager and you're doing all these new things, it kind of left my mind. Well, as a teenager, I started to get a love for the woods. If I was anywhere, it was out of the house, it was in the woods, fishing, mostly, I was a teenager and I had a good buddy. And he got his license and we took off and we would fish all over Ohio. And we were out one morning at a place called Lake Cowan. And we got the boat, went across, we found a good spot to fish the lily pads for some big bass. And I tell him to, be careful with that spoon. Whatever you do, don't hook me. First cast, he throws it right through my ear. So that fishing trip was over as soon as it started. We went back to the bait house all the way across, paddled the boat across. The guy cuts the hook off at the barb, pulls it out of my ear. So I'm ready to go home at this point. And he's like, no, it's still early. It's Saturday morning, not even 8 o'clock.
One second.
Okay.
I got to say something. I got booted out of Pennsylvania Bigfoot Project with the podcast again. For some reason, it's booting us.
Wow. I wonder why.
I don't know. It does that. Let's see if I can bring it back up. Continue there. See if it's going to continue. Yeah. Nope. It's going to start from the beginning. So I'm just going to remove it. But go ahead.
So we head down to a place called Todd's Creek. And we're going to stop there. He wanted to just get some kind of fishing. So it wasn't a waste of day. So I decided to go with him. We parked, and there's a big, huge white farmhouse off to the right. And it's about a 500-600 walk to get into this place called Todd's Creek. But it was supposed to be great fishing, muskie, and white bass and stuff right through there. So we get all the way back there, and we decide to wade out into the creek. Well, I wade out into the middle, and off to the right of me is just a huge pocket of nothing but woods for miles and miles and miles and miles. And he's down below me in some shallow water and another pocket of the creek. Well, about 10, 15 minutes into the fishing trip, I'm throwing a rooster tail. And I looked over to the right, just, kind of daydreaming, being lackadaisical. And all of a sudden, here comes a rock out of nowhere, flying from the pocket of woods, right at me. Man, about 2 foot from me. Shocked the holy crap out of me. But I instantly looked down to him. I don't know why I did this, but I looked down to him and I was like, bro, why did you throw that rock at me? And he turns and he looks at me. He says, now how in the did I throw a rock at you when I got both my hands on this pole? But I guess it was just the shock that I'd seen that come from where it came, but couldn't put nobody behind it. So I shake it off and we start fishing again. Not even 5 minutes later, I'm throwing a rooster tail. Right side, here comes another rock, even bigger, even closer. Wow. It lands to me. I look down to him. He's about 50 yards below me. He makes eye contact with me, and we are both booking it out of this creek. Now, mind you, we're both in the middle wading. We ain't got no waders on. We're soaking wet to the gill. We hit this bank, and it's a steep incline. And with water dripping all over us, it was like two mud wrestlers trying to get up this hill. We get halfway up and slide back down. Get halfway up, slide back down, and we're scared to death. I'm shaking so bad, I can barely keep my hands out, underneath me.
Right.
I felt like they were just going to give way, and I was going to do a face first plant into the mud. That's how scared I was, because I knew something was not right. I couldn't see anything over in the woods, but who throws rocks at you at 7:45, 8 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday in the middle of nowhere? So everything started coming back at me. Everything started to come back at me, from what I went through as a child. Right. And I'm like, my God. So we're booking. We finally get up out of the creek bed off the bank, and we're running. I mean, as fast as we can, soaking with poles in our hands. We throw him in the back of the truck, and we peel up out of there. He was so scared when we got to the truck, he couldn't even get the keys into the ignition. Now, mind you, he didn't believe in none of this until that day. So he finally gets the keys in the truck and turns it over, and we're out of there. And he's asking me, what in the hell was that? And I'm telling you, hey, it is what it is. You may not believe it, but that's probably Bigfoot or Sasquatch that did that. There's no other explanation. I don't know what to tell you. It is what it is. So needless to say, we never fished back there ever again. Never.
Yeah, I can understand that. Now I was taught at a young age to face what scares you.
Yeah.
And so it took me, after my sighting, it took me a few weeks to figure out why I was so scared. Like I told you when we were talking earlier, I'm not afraid of nothing.
Me neither.
But hey, I came to a stark realization. I'm not the superhuman I thought I was. I'm just human.
Amen to
And
that.
I did get scared. So I can understand not wanting to go back to that area.
Being that young.
Yeah. Being that young and that, yes, I can understand that 110%. Now, like after my sighting, that was in August. In October, Mary Fabian and I went back there. And the area was closed off because it was hunting season. But we went in there at night. We had eye shines, which was no deer, as high up as it was coming up toward us.
Right.
There was something moving behind us. We found a branch stuck into the ground upside down that couldn't came out of this tree here because there was no dead wood or anything. And
right.
there was nothing broke. We're shining our spotlight up in the tree trying to see where if it could have came out of there. It didn't. So something jammed that stick into the ground. We don't know what or who or
Absolutely.
whatever. But Mary really got the uneasy feeling and says, I don't like it. We got to go. And we left.
Yeah, that's what you do.
Respect your gut feelings.
Yep.
But I was a little uneasy going back. I admit it. I'm a full-grown man that was never afraid of nothing, but I was uneasy. So, yeah. And being a kid, you're going to get scared, and you don't want to go back to an area.
Hell no.
I just didn't have any fear growing up, so I did all kind of stupid stuff.
Oh, I did too. We were crazy.
Yep.
But that just was so uneasy of a feeling that I can't explain the feeling that came over me that day. But I mean, it was almost like a kind of a buildup for me, the way this all went down, because I got a glance at one from about 100 feet and then Rockstone. But the last encounter was the craziest one because that's when I walked up on one and what I seen. I don't think many people in this world would ever see this. I can just consider myself lucky. We decided to go with my uncle to he was an Army veteran too. He wanted to go to his buddy Tom's house on the border of Ohio and Indiana. Tom had bought some land, and up above it was a small mountain, a mountain with a bridge wrapped all the way around. And there was 2 lakes up there. So we get there, and we're going night fish for the first time ever up there. And this small mountain, mind you, it's probably about 2,000-3,000 foot climb, and it's on an 80-degree angle going up.
Right.
It was so difficult to get up that hill, Bill, that you couldn't take, any coolers or anything like that. You just had to take your gear because that's the only way you were going to get up. You weren't getting up with anything else. And it was like a rock climbing ordeal to get up to the first lake up there. Lake 1 is what we call it, fish. So we get up there, we're bass fishing, burn them up. Cows are off to our left side. It's a beautiful, beautiful afternoon. We're burning bass up. Well, night falls on us, real quick as it does when you're having a blast and catching tons of fish. And it gets dark. A couple hours later, the cows, for some reason, got up and left from the left side of the lake and walked around to the right side and went up the hill to Lake 2. And they never done that before. They always went down towards the river that was down below on the other side,
Right.
to the right side of Lake 1. To the right side of Lake 1, there was a trek down, and that took you to the Miami Whitewater River that was down below us on the right-hand side. Get up above us, there was a ridge. There was another lake called Lake 2. And then we kind of sat in a bowl when you were at Lake 1. Because you had the ridge and the mountaintop off to the left side of you that blocked all the wind coming from Indiana, the way it usually did in the summer. So we were downwind. And this is how we all figured it at the end. That's why this happened. So it's about midnight. And I started hearing something off the left side of the ridge as we're fishing. We only got one lantern going, so we've got it in the middle of us. We're all at the front of the lake. Well, something's coming off this ridge to the left of us. And it would move and then stop and move and stop. It was moving methodically. So I figured it was a deer. We all figured deer. So we shook it off and we just started to fish, again. And several hours later, about 4 o'clock in the morning, my Uncle Mike heard something. And we all heard it. And it sounded like a baby crying, Short little burst, wah, 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 something crying out like a baby. And my Uncle Mike said, "Do you hear that? What the hell is it?" I said, "Yeah, I hear it." He said, "Well, go check it out." So I grabbed a lantern and I walked over to the left side and around the corner. And right there, the wood set about 2.5 foot, 3 at the most feet away from the water. Well, as I get to that corner, I raise my lantern light. I raise it up. There's something with his hands in the water squatted down. And I put the light on it. It immediately starts to turn its head towards me over its left shoulder. And I get the eye shine that's a beautiful yellow. And this thing starts to growl at me right as we're making eye contact. Now I froze like a stone. I glanced over to the left of me. I guess just checking to see where everything was at. This thing, Sasquatch, Bigfoot, squatted down. It opened its hand and let the water out of its hand. This thing had a baby deer in its left hand held down by the neck. And its legs are kicking. This thing's probably about 75 pounds at best. I'm in total shock. Total shock. I hear my dad and my uncles. They were up there with me. They were witnesses to the whole thing. I can hear them vaguely, "What is that? Do you see it? What is that? What do you see?" And I'm shocked. I can't move. And me and this thing, this big, we're eye to eye. We're eye to eye. And this thing is as tall as me, squatted down, which was the wild thing, and built like a weightlifter. Had the coned head. Mouth was halfway open. Beautiful yellow eyes. Flat nose. I mean, this thing, it had a dark, leathery tan look to its face.
Okay.
Kind of a cinnamon red shag with a kind of a beard coming down to its chest. This thing freaked me out. I've never been that scared in my life. I could not move for a couple minutes. And then finally, I hear them say that. "What is that? Do you see it?" And I just said, "Run." And I immediately turned to my left, took 2 running steps, and jumped off the side of the mountain.
Huh.
I hit the ground running. And I'm up in front of them all. I've got them outran. And we're going downhill on an 80-degree angle. And I can't believe I still got my feet, underneath me. And all of a sudden, I slowed down. I don't know why. And they kind of behind me when we all just hit it. They took me out like a bowling ball hitting pins. We all went down the mountain, rolling and rolling, hitting, crashing the rocks and everything. And I come to a stop at a log jam. My feet hit a log perfectly. And I reached my hand out to grab up to the log to get myself up. I can't move. I can't get my legs to help me stand so I can get up and continue to run down this mountain. My legs were gone. I don't know if it was, infrasound doing it or if it was just the fear in me. I had the dread feeling of, death was coming sooner than, and it was imminent. It was coming and it was coming soon. I figured this thing was going to get us, one of us or all of us. And then I even got to the point where I figured, you know what, there might even be several more with this thing coming down off that ridge now, and we're all through.
Yeah.
But they couldn't even get up neither, For a couple minutes, we all popped this. And I just remember, we all felt like, it was over. Life was getting ready to come to an end. That's how scared this thing was. Freaked me out. I've never been that afraid in my life. And I mean, and
Well,
that's
with
when I
my
knew.
sighting, with my sighting, as close as it was, like I told you before. Yeah, I think it's over.
Yeah,
And a
yeah,
heartbeat. Yes.
yeah, yeah. It's over. It's a wrap. It's done. There ain't no way you're getting out of there. And that's why my uncle Jack from Arkansas, just a tremendous hunter. He always told me, stories back in the day when I was young. He said, if you ever meet one face to face, don't ever turn away from them. Don't ever make eye contact, and always walk backwards. Never turn your back to them. You know what I mean? All that went
Yeah.
out the window that night. You know what I mean? As soon as I seen it, I was gone. You know what I mean? As soon as I could move, I was gone. There wasn't no walking out backwards. I was just gone. I was going to give it everything in me to make it through this. So we finally get up and we get down to the bottom of the hill, and they're like, what did you see? And I told them, well, you can't say nothing. You cannot say nothing to Tom. You cannot say anything to anybody. They're going to label you crazy. Your mom's going to put you in a loony bin. We got to keep this a secret. Because if anybody finds out, they're going to go up here on this land, Tom's land, and hunt for this thing or these things, and then we're never going to be allowed back here to fish again. That's all they were worried about, was losing their fishing spot.
Oh, jeez.
Now, the neighbor that lived a few, he lived up over off to the left side of the ridge. He heard all the commotion and he come out. And actually, I told him what I'd seen. He called the state police that night, and a state trooper actually come out, but he didn't want to go up to. He didn't want to go up to see what was up there.
No.
Yeah, He said, why don't we just we get these calls all the time, do you really want me to go up there? All the way up there, And I said, well, don't worry about it, It's all good. It's over now. It's probably gone.
There is a gentleman that came to a chapter meeting on Eastern Pennsylvania at the Luzerne and Lackawanna County chapter meeting they had for the Pennsylvania Bigfoot Project, which myself and Mary Fabian both were speakers at. A police officer came. He got harassed for telling me he saw one, he believes in them.
Yeah.
And and whenever they got any kind of cryptid or paranormal reports, they had to go check, and he was on duty. It was him that went.
Absolutely.
And they said, we don't want to deal with it. You deal with it. You've seen it. You deal with it. That type of mentality crap.
Yeah. I get it.
And I hate it. I hate it. I hate it.
I hate it too, bro. I'm getting it now. I'm getting flack. Crazy stuff has happened since I released The Missing Link, my last book on the subject of Bigfoot.
Theta Wave Blue Media asked a question.
Yeah.
Here, let me. I got to tip that back so I can read it. I got glare in my eyes here for some reason. Did it look like Bigfoot was drowning the deer?
No, the deer was on the lake, on the bank.
On the bank.
Okay. On the bank. And the Sasquatch had it held down by the throat with his left hand. And as I put the light on it, it was actually getting a drink from the lake with its right hand until it seen the light getting spotted on it. And he opened his hand and the water dripped down off his hand. But it was on the bank. He'd hunted this baby deer, I guess, the whole night while we were fishing.
Huh. Yeah. All right. I'm going to have to put a shout out here. The Theta Wave Blue Media. They are a big time supporter of our podcast in the Agent of the Unexplained group. Yeah. Norm Domack. Norm is the one that made the lead in intro for us. And
yep.
So, he can do that. He can help money map, business planning, all kind of stuff. This man is phenomenal. Anybody needs anything done, get a hold of Theta Wave Blue Media or Norm Domack. He'll hook you right up. Back to you, Jeff.
Yeah, so I pretty much after that, I never went back there and fished neither, Phil. I I kept it a secret, for years, and it kind of just slipped away from me. Like I just forgot everything that happened. I kind of just pushed it down and away from me. I started heavily drinking every day, become a full-blown alcoholic. Just went down a deep, dark road. I really did. Then finally I got sober. I woke up one day and got saved and baptized, and that was it. I was on my way to sobriety. And then a few things happened, and that's when I just started to let it all out, tell the story, and become an author and write about everything that I'd experienced, while out in the woods, everything that I've seen. And it's taken off as of lately. It's been a fire lit up under its ass,
That's
so to
good.
speak. Yeah. Sales are starting to take off. But now we're starting to get a little bit of flack too. And that's why I wrote this latest book that's getting ready to come out after the first of the year. It's called That Gut Feeling. Because some things started to happen after the release of The Missing Link. Started to get harassed and followed. Just crazy stuff that I didn't even expect to happen. People went messing with our phones.
Like who?
And our cable. I don't know who it is, who it possibly could be. That's what my fiance keeps asking. But we wake up and our cable power, it's all turned off out of nowhere for some reason. We lose our connection to Wi-Fi. We've even picked up her cell phone one night while decorating the Christmas tree, and her phone was on a live video feed, like somebody was videotaping us and everything that we were talking about while we decorated our Christmas tree. It was just, I couldn't believe it. It scared me. I can't lie.
So Big Brother's watching you, huh?
Yeah, I think so, Bubba. I really do, brother. To say the least. Maybe not as intense as I'm thinking, but somebody's got eyes out there on it. So I sent the book to the publisher, and it's in the works now, but he don't want to release it until the first of the year. I've got a few books coming out after the first of the year. But I just put a couple books out this week too. This is a kid's book. I just started to write, on a different subject, just to freshen things up and try to keep the readers happy. But for the most part, I love writing about Sasquatch and Bigfoot because I seem to have many more books on that subject written than any other subject. I'll write 2 or 3 about something else. I go right back to Bigfoot. It's just, once you see them, you can't turn away from it. It's your life. You live it,
It does change you.
It does.
It
does
really
change
you. Yeah. So where can you get your books at?
Well, they're worldwide at this point. Diamox in Australia, but for the Americans, pretty much for the most part, Amazon, Abe's Books, ABES, Abe's Books, Barnes and Noble, Joseph Beth Booksellers. They're even at the local library, my hometown library. They've bought over 20 different subjects of my book. So if people can't afford it, they can just go there and sit in the library and read. Most of the Bigfoot books are there. There's several more coming. They just accepted The Missing Link and bought a couple copies of that. So if anybody wants to read that, they can go there. And that's where I exposed the cover up by the National Smithsonian Institute, and how they covered up all this by doing the things that they did, under the cover, so to speak. And that's when all this strange shit started to happen. But, like I said, me and my publisher got together. We on Facebook, and we messaged each other. And I said, yeah, just let it go. He said, well, why don't we wait till the first of the year to let it go? So I agreed. So this next one, it's kind of a follow-up to The Missing Link, and the cover-up and how, I put it out there on them. It's pretty much the follow-up and tells everybody everything that's happened since that book's release. So I just wanted people to know, just in case, just because things have become a little unstable, and I have to actually say I'm a little scared, just because of the unknown. You get that gut feeling when something's wrong.
Oh
It's
yeah.
just it's a natural instinct, Bill, that we're born with. And a few things have happened where even my fiance has said, "Hey, you know what? Something isn't right. Is there anybody we can call?" So I got with my buddy from Sasquatch Theory, Miguel, and he had just interviewed Lance from HTH over there, and Lance had a hotline that anybody could call if they were having the same issues. So apparently this is taken off, and I'm not the only one that's having this problem. So I heard another guy had released a couple books, and it turned around and lost his job. The interview that he had set up to a radio station that wanted to interview him, when he got there, they canceled it and told him to immediately exit the building. They turned the power off at the radio station and told him, and the manager came out and said, "You got to leave, the interview's over." And he asked why. He said, "I can't give you no explanation. You just got to go." So, I mean, they froze his bank accounts, just crazy stuff.
Well,
yeah.
I was on a radio station locally here, and once a month he does things about the cryptid and paranormals, and I was one of the first guests for it. And there's several of my Bigfoot and cryptid and paranormal friends been on there since. And so, it's someone has it in for you guys. But Angela Skeens asked, here, I'll put it
That's
up
my
on
fiance.
the screen.
That's
All right. There. Can you see what she wrote?
Let me put my glasses on, Bill.
I can read it to you.
Right on. Let's see. So, Jeffery, how long? This has been going on actually for about, I'd say, a good 2 months. A good 2 months this stuff's been going on. And it doesn't matter what anybody else says. I know because I feel it in my gut. And I was on my way home one day, and you get that feeling that, you're being watched or followed. And I look over to my left as I'm making a walk towards the hospital to make a right to come down the hill to come home. And this guy is driving past me slowly in an SUV. It's black SUV, tinted windows, lightly tinted, not dark, lightly tinted. But he's staring right at me. He's on a phone or he's on a walkie-talkie, whatever it was. I couldn't tell what that was, the actual device he was on. But he's looking at me eye to eye, and he fly, he trying to be sly. He drives slowly past me like he's going, go up to the red light. The light's red. So I keep walking, and I look over my left shoulder. This guy's pulling a U-turn in the middle of traffic, immense traffic, mind you, and starts to make the drive back up towards me slowly but surely. So I boarded, make a right and turn to come down the hill, and I get to the bottom of the hill. There he is, sure enough, again. So I make the left to come towards my apartment building before I made the right. And he drives past me slowly as I'm turning in right to come home to my apartment building. And that's not the first time this has happened. But I caught him red-handed following me that day when I was trying to come home from doing some work that day.
Right.
I just knew. And then when he made the U-turn, I knew what it was. They followed me all the way from downtown, all the way home, to Avondale, a good 3 miles. And I just knew from the time I left the building, I was being watched.
Well,
and I was.
I always say, follow your gut.
Oh, yeah. And that's what I live by. My father raised me that way. Live by your gut. If you have that bad feeling that something's wrong, 10 out of 10 times, your gut is going to be correct. And it always has been. Yep. It's never led me any other way. So, I really haven't left the house in the last month, except for to go to the doctors. My health's declining. I can't get out there much anymore. So I just started, mainly just writing. I still do research. You got Google, you got the internet. I watch everything everybody else watches. I even dig deeper into the archives and all that and older stuff, and that's where you find the good juicy stuff is if you go back deep, but I have to tell you about the expedition that we went on down there for the week and a half in Kentucky. It was crazy. We get down there late at night. We pass the exit up because we're talking. Me and my buddy Tim, we hadn't seen each other in over 15 years. So we get to his mom and dad's, and they're deep down in the hills of Kentucky, and their house is in the middle of the field. It was wild how it was set up. There was their house, and then his little brother's house was in behind hers, and there was this acres and acres of endless woods all the way around them in a circle. And then there was a open field in the middle. The following morning, we come out to go, hook the boat up to go fishing. 50 yards into the walk, me and Tim walked right into a deer leg. And I picked it up. This deer leg had been wrung like something out of the wash. Just kept right. It had been wrung and wrung and wrung and wrung and spun in circles so many times, that it had splintered it and wrapped the cartilage all the way around the deer leg itself, and like it had just popped it off.
Yep.
And for some reason, it was laying out there in the middle of the field. Now we picked this up to see if there was, coyotes had done it. There were any teeth marks on it. There wasn't a teeth mark on that deer leg. And I just found that as ironic, like it was a sign, because I had just put out Blessed and Cursed, which is my first book about all my encounters. And I did Bigfoot and Stellar Jay's River Day, the kids' book, before I went down there. They were coming out, They came out actually while I was down there. But we got the boat hooked up. We kept the deer leg, and I took pictures, but my phone shattered, so I lost those. I got to figure out how to get them, pull them back up somehow off of, the cloud app that everybody's got now. So we get the boat hooked up. We're at the lake, and we get across to the other side. Tim's dad wants to fish the other side. It's a hot spot over there. Well, we got these boaters running through on the opposite side of the lake. They're tubing and stuff, and they're going 100 miles an hour, and they got tubes on the back running kids. Well, all of a sudden, Bill, I swear, out of nowhere, it was like something had pushed this tree over to the opposite side of the lake. You heard a big pop, and then it sounded like a missile, like a cruise missile had hit the ground 300 yards away from us.
Wow.
The most intense pop and then crash I'd ever heard in my life. It scared us all so bad we jumped off of the boat, into the air. Like, as it hit, it was insane, the loudness of that noise. It was like, pow! And then the pop echoed, though. We had rocks. There was rocks all the way around that lake. So it scared the living crap out of us. Well, we continued to fish that day, and we, it was pretty hot. So we end up pulling back, go back to the dock, and then we get hit with an intense rainstorm. Just poured the rain on us. Not windy, nothing like that. Just an intense, storm, nothing but, 2 inches of rain within an hour's time. So we get back. We're going home a couple of days later, and we get into Berea, Kentucky. Now I look off to the right of me, because my buddy Tim is driving, and there's a huge mountain up to the right side of us. Well, the whole top of that mountain had been stripped down. There was a highway crew up there, and they had tore all the trees up off the top of that mountain and cleared them all out. I'm talking acres and acres of trees. And they just flattened the whole top of that mountainside. I guess for a road build, Well, all of a sudden, my buddy Tim says, look. And I turn over to the left.
Yeah.
And there's a tree break, clean as a whistle, at about 7 foot. First tree break. He slows down. There's another tree break, another tree break, another tree break, in a straight line on a 75-yard pattern. Tree breaks at the exact height, directly across from the highway bill that was going on.
Wow.
Now, I took that as something had upset the balance. Something was upset that they had tore all those trees down on the opposite side of the mountain bill there, and they were letting it be known on the left side. Hey, don't come over here and mess with this side. You know what I mean? Tim had pretty much, he had never seen one. He'd been told about them, by his father, because they'd grown up in the country as well, so they've heard the story. But, I talked about it with Tim on the trip down there. So I guess he was just keeping his eyes open for anything that was going to, that may go down, because I'd weighed his mind down heavily on the subject. So when he seen that first tree break, and then he seen a couple others that were directly up in front of it, he knew himself. He's like, man, this is off. So he said, I had to let you know. He said, but wasn't that crazy that they were in a single line in that far of a stretch and they were exactly broke off cleanly at the same height? And I said, yeah, something was upset because it probably stripped them of their home while they tore all the trees down up there on the opposite side of that hill. You know what I mean? So, which made me go back.
I like selective cutting. That clear cutting crap, I hate.
Yeah. You know, they just come out of nowhere and did that build, you know. I guess they had upset the balance there, you know. My publisher. Now I write books for Amazon, but my publisher, my main publisher and sidekick is Thomas Markham from Zombie Media Publishing. Now that's my guy that I signed a 5-year deal with to do books about Bigfoot. He lives down there, deep in Harlan, Kentucky. So he and his father have seen one of these things as well. You know what I mean? Thomas does films. You'll see him on Tubi TV, you know, the Tubi TV app. Bigfoot the Legend. Just look up Thomas Markham. He is a phenomenal Bigfoot researcher. He goes all out, and he has for well over 20 years. He's got a lot of good evidence, and he's done a lot of good work in this field with us all. You know, I'm glad I teamed up with him because I've learned so much. You know, because when you see him, you want to learn. You know, when you see him, you want to learn everything about him. You know,
I try to learn something from every researcher.
Absolutely.
Yep.
You know, to soak it up like a sponge because it's coming. The proof is coming. I feel like the proof is coming sooner than we all expect, especially with technology out there, you know, the FLIR.
I hope. I really hope.
The GoPro cameras.
I'm going to be 64 here in a month. You know, so I got a good 20 more years, maybe 30.
I hope so.
And, you know, we'll see.
Right on.
I hope it comes a lot sooner so I get to enjoy it longer.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's just nothing like it if you love the subject, you know?
Yep.
You never grow tired of it, you know? I never do.
Nope.
You know?
Yeah.
Like I said, like you said, I learn something new every day. Yeah. Every day.
I talk to a lot of different researchers. My one mentor, he's always showing me something new, always.
Right, I know.
That's Jamie King. You know,
yeah,
it's not just Bigfoot. You know, him and his wife got the different perspective on life than anybody.
Right.
You know, and I love them for it. And I learned so much from them and the way things are and the way you need to look at things. And so, you know,
you got to keep an open mind. You got to keep an open mind.
I've said that right from the get-go. Open mind and think outside the box.
You have to when you're in this line of, you know, research that we're in. Nobody, I love what you said the other day. Nobody, I don't care how many interactions or encounters you had. No one is an expert. There are no experts. I will tell them they're a slapjaw liar. There are no experts.
So you heard me say that, huh?
Absolutely. Sure did. And I totally agree with you. I think I even posted down below it. Absolutely. I put absolutely in the box. Because there's not, you know.
Yeah. There's. I'm sorry. There's people that has more experiences.
Yeah.
And that was said even they can call them an expert. No, I'm sorry. I don't agree with that. And
I don't agree.
You know, I got respect for the man that said it, but I don't agree with him. That's wrong. I cannot look at someone and say they're an expert. And
nope.
Once they show me a degree in Bigfoot, I might call them an expert.
Yeah, I mean, there's some good ones out there, but there's no experts.
We got some people that, you got these ones that have been out there forever, and I mean ever, Jeff.
Boots on the ground, you know.
Fred Saluga. He's in his 70s. He's still going in the woods.
God bless him.
He's been doing it 50 years.
Man, trying to get that one sighting or encounter, you know.
Yeah,
I feel bad for those people. I feel bad for them.
No,
I love you.
He has shed so much information out there with everybody. You know, so not that I feel bad that he didn't get a sighting. I'm like a sponge with the information he has.
Me too.
And he has a lot. And a lot. So, you know, it's those ones that I can relate to the most.
Yeah. Me too. So it seems.
Brian and Terry Seach have been at it 30 years.
That's a long time.
And they got a room in their house called the S-File room.
Yeah.
Of everything. Wall to wall.
Right.
And I'm going down there here after the holidays. And I might get lost in the S room.
Right on. I probably would too. I love this field of work.
Yeah. And that's another great couple that's down to earth and are, you know, that shares the info. And that's what it's all about. You're writing your books to share information.
Absolutely. To the world. From here to Japan. You know what I mean? I want them all to know the truth. And I don't care what it's, you know.
And I've always had this philosophy. Believe me or don't believe me, I'm not going to lie about anything to you.
Amen.
You know, it's, you know, I got one friend that harasses me all the time. And I said, I don't care if you believe me or not.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Have I ever lied to you? No. Then why would I lie about this?
Then why would I lie now? That's what that's the way.
Why would I lie about this?
Right. I ain't never lied to you. Why would I lie now?
Another one researcher I got respect for. He goes out every week too, or tries to. Sean Forker. You know, Sean gets out there. He's been at it for several years. His experience almost chased him away from it. Thank God he came back.
Right.
You know, this stuff affects people differently. Not everyone is affected the same.
Right.
But you can tell who has been and who hasn't been.
Absolutely.
And I met one guy talking all kind of happy crap. And finally I just looked at him and I says, take me to the spot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Take me to the spot. I want to know the spot. He couldn't do it. And that's just said it right then and there. You're done.
Yeah. I'd take you. I could take you, and I would take. There's only two people I would take. That would be you, and that would be Thomas Markham. I would take you directly to the spot, but nobody else. I will not tell it to anyone. I will not show anyone else. You know what I mean? You and Thomas Markham would be the only two that I would take to that exact spot. Because I remember exactly to a T where it's at. You know? Can't miss it.
Hell, we did that camp out this past spring at Salt Fork that I put on, which I'm putting on another one next year. Where I can take you right to the spot I had my sighting.
Right on.
Of course, it's right up the Buckeye Trail, right from the camp area. Unless the storm took out that tree. Right to where it was at.
Exactly.
And I showed people this past spring, you know, they said, we really wanted to see where your sighting was here. Come on. You know.
Yeah.
And I explained to him what we were doing as we're going in, that, every step of the way and what was happening around us, like I told you. So, people want to know, but they still don't want to experience them themselves, a lot of them. I ain't saying the ones that was at my camp out, because they were all there because they wanted to learn and hopefully have a sighting.
Right.
So
I tell you, once you have one, you wished you hadn't. I mean, well, it was that way for me at first. I wish I had, just because the way that this one intimidated and scared me, with the way that it had that deep guttural growl, like 20 pit bulls put together, and you were trying to, like you were trying to take its food. It was that deep and low of a grumbling growl that it vibrated my chest. I mean, I was only 40 feet from this thing. This thing was about 500-600 pounds. When I look back now, we think that it was a juvenile because, like yours, about 500-600 pounds max, but it was built like a brick shit house. But the fear that this one put into me was totally different than the first one. It acted totally different. But the thing about it is I didn't think about it at the time, is the first one was this probably had got lost and come off the railroad tracks, and was trying to scare us out of the way so he could get away. But this second one actually had its hunt in its grasp. So it was protecting, its food.
Protecting its food.
For its own survival. And that's why I got that deep, intimidating, guttural growl as it opened its mouth. And at the end, I forgot to tell you, and at the end, it kind of gave a snoot, like a deer would, a buck.
Oh.
To try to,
oh, wow.
Yeah. It made me jump back immediately. And that's when I had the notion that I can move, take off, and go. And I told them, bolt now. I jumped.
Yep.
It was freaky.
Did it have a smell to it or anything?
No. That was what was ironic to me. But looking back on it now, we thought possibly what would, make that situation be to where it didn't. Now we had water below us, the river. Okay. Then up above us, we had another huge lake that it came down from. And then right where it was at was another lake. So we figured
usually when someone sees them, they smell. Not the smell. There's not the smell there.
Right. And with me, the same thing, no smell. But we just figured it had come through the water at some point, wash this thing away.
I think it pushes that pheromone out, the smell out, as a defense mechanism. That's what I think. I could be 110% wrong. I'm just, that's what I think. I ain't saying I believe it, but I think it. Because I don't know.
See, that's what I kept breaking down in my mind. Why wasn't there no smell?
You got, like I say, think outside the box. Why didn't it have that smell? All right. We know why it growled at you. It had its dinner, and you were close to it, and it was not giving up dinner. It was hungry.
Because I thought he was going to go. I thought he was going to bolt to the woods because they were only 2.5, 3 feet away. But he did not move. He was like a deer in headlights. He was not leaving without that baby deer.
Yeah,
he was not leaving. You know what I
mean? He was hungry. That's why.
Absolutely.
And, hey, I got to give a shout out. Hi, baby doll. I see you're out there. My wife. She's watching.
Right on.
But yeah, so like I said, the way I think it's a protective or get the hell away type of situation when it puts off the smell. It's like a skunk.
Yep. I think in my situation,
get away from me.
Absolutely. But in my situation, I don't think it had enough time to react because it had to kill in its grass. That's what I come to. Yeah. My conclusion is it really didn't have enough time to even go that route. And then before there was even any more of an interaction, I had made the bolt to jump off the mountain. You know what I mean? So that's the way we broke that down. At least I did, But I'm just glad that I finally let it go because I felt so much better once I let it out after 20 years of being suppressed and bullied by my father and my 2 uncles, which were his brothers, You know, they bullied me all the way
Well,
through life.
that's the
You know,
thing. My wife knows I can't keep my mouth shut. I can't. Um,
my wife's the same
I,
way.
uh, we we had this thing where I was keeping kind of quiet about it for a couple of weeks, trying to sort this all out in my head. But a bunch of people told me talk about it, get it
Yeah.
off your chest, you'll
Yeah.
feel better.
Hell yeah.
And I was told that before about another situation, and finally I went, you know what, they're right. I'm going to start talking about it. I got to let it out.
Yeah.
I got to
You
get it
can't.
off my chest so I
Yeah.
can,
Heal from it.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
the damage that
And
had been done.
it still bothers me. I still break down a few times
Me too.
over it.
I even have nightmares sometimes.
You know, and I got, so yeah, I had some PTSD, and
Me too.
but I believe mine was different because I finally realized I'm human, not superhuman, and that was hard for me to catch a grip on.
I'll tell you, these things look more human than they do ape. You know, they look like a hybrid hominin to me. More human than anything. Yeah, more human than anything. I have to go there. I mean, that's just my opinion. We all are entitled to that.
I won't argue with you because I can't say they're more ape than human or more human than ape.
And they're intelligent.
We don't know.
But they are so intelligent. You know, and the thing about it is the people
chimpanzees intelligent.
Yeah, yeah.
So come on, you know.
To build nests, you have to have an opposable thumb. You have to have two of them. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
To break tree structures, you know, that are used for communication and warnings, you got to have thumbs.
Another type of mammal that's very intelligent that don't live on land. A dolphin.
Absolutely intelligent.
So,
and extremely defensive.
I know you have. Nikki, this young lady. God, I'm surprised she didn't pop that baby out then. A couple months back, she had her sighting.
Oh, yeah.
Good. Here, let me put it up.
Good.
Here's what she wrote, Jeff. Yeah.
Nightmares, yes. Absolutely. Yeah. I have them vaguely once in a blue moon now. Yeah. And there you go. That's what it's about.
And he'll come back and hit you again and again, Nikki. It has me. And you just sit there and you think about it and you get yourself calmed down, especially the state of mind you're in and everything going on with you. You're pregnant, you got some medical problems. We don't want nothing to happen to that baby or her. Good girl.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah, and yeah, so and she's, you know, God bless her. She accepting the fact that, so, and I kind of helped verify that for her because the sighting was like on a Tuesday or Wednesday, and by Saturday we were down in that area researching.
Yeah,
where she saw it at.
It's hot. It's a hot spot right now. Pennsylvania is a hot spot. Is that where you're at?
Yes.
Pennsylvania is on fire right now. Like top 3, maybe even the top 1 at this point.
I hope that's my wife saying hi, sweetie.
Yeah. My wife and my mother-in-law are right in the living room watching our show. So yeah, it's good to have support like that. It really
it is.
Yeah, but you guys are in a great spot for sightings.
We got an active area near me. I go an hour away on a regular investigation. Nikki's about 2 hours from me, and I had property near where her sighting was. And just that week, it was closed on. And I went, what? No.
Yes.
So
Wow.
we went down there on Wednesday, went into about where she saw it going up into the woods from the road, and we found a track, we found a net, we found structures. So, and
Then you know.
the track was right near where Nikki seen it,
Wow.
and so the nest was near there. So,
That's wicked.
yeah. But anyhow, we're into our hour now. I want to thank you.
Thank you for having me. It's been a
Um,
pleasure.
yeah, definitely. You know, Jeff's books are on. You can get them at Amazon, Barnes and Noble.
Joseph Beth Booksellers. They're everywhere. All over.
They're
All over. Finally,
fine.
Walmart.com.
Oh, I got a problem with Walmart. So
Oh, I don't like them that much neither. But they can run my books if they want, but I don't like them that much.
Oh yes. But anyhow,
yeah, stay in touch with me. I enjoyed doing this with you. You know, it's good to put two heads together like that, especially when you got that many, years and experience together. I took the whole day out. Yeah, I took the whole day out to put this together, so that way, we can have a good, smooth show.
Right.
And I hope that people enjoy it.
Read what Nikki put up. Put your glasses back on. Come on, Four Eyes.
Thank you, Shane. Yes, absolutely. Yes. There's many. Blessed and Cursed. Then the night the stars align. The Missing Link is an awesome book. It exposes the National Smithsonian Institute and the cover up that they did to keep this from becoming real and coming to life.
All right. All righty. Thank you, Jeff. Folks, don't forget, coming March 25th, the Penn Ohio Paranormal Conference in Hermitage, Pennsylvania at the Hickory VFW. Make sure you stop in. We got 6 great speakers. Mike Hartman's the MC. We got vendors galore. So come on out. I had to throw that plug in too, Jeff.
Right on. Well, it's been a pleasure, brother. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Jeff, very much. You have a great night.
Have a great weekend.
You too. And stay safe.
Absolutely.
And thank you, everyone, for watching. We're going to get on out of here ourselves. I will talk to you soon. Have a warm and safe weekend. Good night.